Hi everyone. So I'm Prasant and a long lecture about me. So that's not what the talk is about. I'm going to talk about tech-led innovation versus tech-led change. So X-Enabler, we are a technology innovation company. We help companies when they're trying to innovate something, they want to create new solutions using technology. We help them figure out what that solution can be, what technologies they can use, and how it can benefit their business, and actually create those. So we are, in a nutshell, software development company plus tech advisory. So what is innovation? Now, there are a number of different definitions that you can find that defines innovation, but one that resonates most with me is that innovation is turning an idea into a solution that adds value from a customer's perspective. Now, the key thing here is new and value. When you do innovation, you are trying something new, something that you haven't done before. It might be a new product, it might be a new ways of doing things, it might be a new service, new market, new customer base, anything, but it has to be new. And it has to add a value not only to your business, but to the customers that you are serving. Then what is change? So change largely is about modifying the process, rules, or workflows, or an infrastructure to achieve better results. So it's about improvement, it's about efficiency, it's about modification of the current process to achieve the same output or in a better way by employing, for example, new procedures, or when smartphone came. And we talked about BYOD in the previous talks. In BYOD, nobody doesn't like. From business perspective, it's a huge cost saving. From the lawyer's perspective, it's a huge headache. So it depends on how you look at it, but then you have to go through that change. You can't resist it. And technology obviously is a major part of driving all of this. So change versus innovation, how they differ. So one fundamental change is the starting point. Change starts with the world as it is. So it wants to achieve the same or better results what we are currently achieving by employing this new method, by employing the new process, by using these new tools and new ways. Innovation, however, it does not start with the current process. It goes with an idea. The ideology is very important in innovation, and how you see what the world should be. Like when iPhone was created, nobody foresee that iPhone will come. Or when Ford created motors, nobody foresee that. It starts with how something should be, how the world should be. And that idea then leads to what the product can be, what you need to change, how you can achieve it, finding new ways, and so on. So that's what innovation. The other important aspect, because you are starting with an idea, innovation by nature is uncertain. It deals with uncertainty. In fact, if you look at statistics of startups in current world, 90% of them fail within first 3 years. And that's innovation. Because they're starting something new, they're doing something new that hasn't been done before. They're trying to get in a way. And if you are in business, innovation is very important. As Ellen mentioned, if the world is changing faster than what you are changing internally, the time is ending. And innovation is all about external forces and how to get ahead of that by creating new things, creating and addressing them before the world is ready or world changes. While change is largely to gain efficiency, to reduce cost, to make it more sustainable, adapt new things, and be ready for that external time. Or, for example, if you want to do innovation, change can be a tool that you can achieve it. So by adopting change, you can actually create a process that actually fuels the innovation in future. So if your company, when was the last time you changed something? Just think about okay, we introduced this change and how did that go? Now, probably there was a lot of resistance. As Ellen pointed out, very good statistics about 30% resistance and 30% adapters and 30% go with the flow. So what we do at X-Enabler is basically become change as a constant thing rather than one-off. And what it drives is that there is, rather than just maintaining and operating the current business, we are always introducing new things to the business, so people see that change as like a constant thing. And they become less and less resistant about that, because they get into that mindset, they get into this whole new habit of always changing, but in a managed way, not in an unmanaged, chaotic way that, oh, nothing works here. By the time I learn this thing, it changes kind of way. But learning that there is always something new to learn, better ways to do things, and that creates a breeding ground for innovation. And if you are in business, that's the best way to go out there. If you look at most of the successful companies, IBM, Google, Facebook, they all have the research budget larger than most of countries' economies. And that's how they stay ahead in the game, because they're always researching, they're always finding new ways, they're always innovating using that knowledge that is created. So what's the role of technology then? Technology, so first and foremost, we should understand that not all changes or innovations are technology driven. The people, I am a technologist, I was a developer before that, I was a computer science engineer, a student before that, so I have always lived in technology most of my career. But all changes and innovation, they're not always technology-led. But technology is still an enabler. If you use technology in current world more than ever, technology can fast-pace those changes. When iPhone came, suddenly internet became the next 2 billion user base within 6 years, rather than 20 years before that, when it reached around like 1.2 billion. So it fastens, it's an enabler, it accelerates the pace of growth, and it creates new avenues. As Michael talked about, like, blockchain and Web3 is what we do mostly. So I will be talking about that again, but in a reduced technical way probably. So when the new technology comes, it enables the opportunity to gain new market, do new things in a fundamentally different way than what has been done before. So technology can certainly help you manage and provide the change and make it like in a way that the change can be managed better as well. Like if you think about, if you have a workforce of 1,000 people and you are trying to introduce new process, now imagine if you can't talk with them via email or like Slack or whatever you might be using. Technology is important if you want to drive change, if you want to change things, or if you want to do anything in general. So if you are focusing on change, when we do the change management, what we might see is it becomes more sustainable, or it aligns more with the business goals. You are trying to create a business strategy, and it aligns more with that. It can make processes more efficient. It can reduce budget. It can achieve same results with lower cost. Those are the things that you will see in the change. And there's one graph that talks about quality, cost, quality, efficiency, and speed all goes up, cost goes down. That's typically what change is all about. Versus when you look at innovation, innovation is all about external. It's all about like, how you can grow the business by new ways, gain more customers, in new ways, buy new products. Competitive advantage. So when Apple got iPhone, it literally like put everyone else out of competition. When they did the iTunes music store, everybody, like whole music industry got impacted by that because streaming became mainstream, and nobody saw that. So when you innovate, you can get a competitive advantage that you can't get otherwise. New business. So blockchain, for example, enables you to transact anywhere in the world without the middleman. Now that opportunity did not exist before that, because you always had a middleman, you always had infrastructure, government, banks, financial infrastructure to get through that. I come from India, I have to send like large checks to India every month. And right now, the only way I can do is go through bank and pay some middleman, probably like 10% of the money that is going through before it reaches to the person that I'm actually sending. Now, with blockchain, you can actually do that peer-to-peer, and the margin will be reduced. And so when you actually innovate, it can grow those opportunities that did not exist before. And new products, obviously. In your business, think about what your current product line is and how can you innovate. And don't think about what can you do for the current customers only. Think about what's the larger audience that you are not addressing at the moment with new product, new services, new innovation. You can actually address those people. And when you look at the larger changes, when internet came, it was all about information being available to everyday person without resistance. Otherwise, you had to go to library, you have to go to scholarly article in the journal, and it was all locked. The information and the knowledge was locked. Now, practically, we go to Wikipedia, which is not the great source, but then still you can go to internet and find and research on your own on literally anything that you want, which was never available. When music came and streaming came and transistor came, everybody got to listen to music that they wanted whenever they want in whatever way they want, rather than when radio was the only mechanism and they had to listen whatever they are playing. No option. So technology-led innovation. And I'm going to talk about blockchain in particular because that's what we do, blockchain and Web3 at the moment. And I think everybody here knows that blockchain is coming, blockchain is changing, but how, why, what's the necessity? So blockchain is just the tech. Cryptocurrency is just one use case of what blockchain can do, which Michael explained very detailed and in fundamentally, like what other things you can do. So what, in a nutshell, blockchain does is think about we all have accountants, we all have books in our business and ledger. It's just a digital ledger that you do not own, in a very simple term. So what does that mean? So with all the businesses, our books are with us. Yes, they are audited time to time, or when ATO knocks on anyone's door. Please don't expect that, but if it does, you have to show them that your books are compliant. They have everything that is there. Or if you are a larger company, you have to go through regular audits and processes. Now, still, the problem is that until those books are audited, they're not regularly audited, and you can play with those books. Banks are playing with their books. Nobody is able to see how in 2008, when the global financial crisis happened, they had $1 against $32, and they were not even maintaining that. So we talk FTX, $1 to $7 was the worst case scenario in crypto. In global financial crisis, the bank only had less than $1 against every $32 they lent. And they insured it with the same money they lent out. And nobody knows about that, right? So now imagine their books were public. This would never get to that because people would have found that before, and they were like, no, it doesn't match. That money is circulating over and over again 32 times before it went to that place where inflation was so high and we all had cracked. So what is important by technology is that it gives you a way to avoid those sneaky ways that are happening. Now, are we able to use it? Well, we are humans, we make errors, we fall into Ponzi schemes, and we get into wrong things, and that's what innovation is all about. It does not always get it right. It changes, it adapts, it learns, and then it improves, all right? So in your business, in your life, everywhere, if you are not innovating, then you're probably gonna still get more growth and everything, but it will be incremental. It will be slow pace. When we talk about hockey curve, when we talk about exponential curves, growth, and so on, innovation is the key. So if you want your business to grow exponentially, you have to grow with the innovation, with the new things. You try new things, new ways, and so on. So with blockchain, how it is changing, and it is very interesting use case because everybody says that it's going to change everything. It's going to change currency. It's going to change authenticity. So we all talked about ID and password and new ways of login and so on. So just last week, NSW started piloting decentralized identity. So what is decentralized identity? Now, most of us have a smartphone, and raise your hand if you are still using your PIN code most of the time, or you are using your biometric face recognition or fingerprint. How many people are using biometric here? Most of us, all right? Now that's a simplest form of decentralized identity. How? Because when you touch your fingerprint and the phone opens or your banking app opens or whatever, it does not share your fingerprint with all those apps. It just says that, yes, I verified it, this is the right user. And the app actually trusts the OS that, yes, it has been verified. Now, decentralized identity is very similar. You are not actually giving away your ID password, you are not actually giving away any biometric, or you are not giving away any personal information. It's just one entity where you verified. Like if you have, I think most of you are directors, and you had to create the director ID recently, and MyGov ID, you had to go and do all the documents and all that. But now that you have that MyGov ID, you can actually go and do any government procedure and say, go to MyGov ID and it can verify your information and it can send that particular department or whatever that, yes, this is a verified user. So you don't need to know anything about it. It is a verified user. Go ahead and process them. That's important. So the authenticity, the identity, the security is going to change because the identity is going to be distributed. It's going to be verified, and then the documents are given back to you, and they are not stored on any other entity but yourself. And that's how we can improve security and all that. Will it happen? Will it be the reality? Well, it's an ideal solution that the technology provides. Whether the companies adopt to that, government adopt to that, that's for us to see and find out. Tracking. So fraudulent tracking. Now, many people ask me that, why do I need to see where my coffee bean came from when we talk about blockchain supply chain tracking? But it's not about just coffee beans. I come from India, and China as well has a major problem of artificial organs that are not authentic or they are not preserved properly. And when they cause damage, it's a significant damage because it's a damage of life. And if you had a technology that can verify that this was manufactured properly, transported properly, preserved properly, fitted properly, and all those documents are on chain and verifiable, it's a huge advantage to any individual, because tomorrow if something goes wrong, you can pinpoint exactly who did that. Not to mention the buildings that had structural fault and all papers are in the air and everybody's raising hand, I don't know what happened. So, and all the people who invested money on those apartments are lost. So tracking in those scenarios are very, very important. And in these scenarios, it is important that the person whose books are there, they are not the one who are actually owning it. They are getting verified at every transaction, every steps, and they can modify it once those transactions are written. That's the power that blockchain gives. It's a system-given trust rather than the person or entity given trust. So various use cases. So think of your business. Where does your business fit into all these categories? Fintech, health tech, real estate, supply chain, government, cybersecurity, social media, art and music. There is hardly any industry that will be untouched by this technology, but you might not be, you will never need a blockchain developer and go and say, hey, I want you to develop a solution for me. You might start using it like you do payments right now or banking right now, digital banking and all that, but the fundamental technology that goes underneath will change, and that will be powered with blockchain or some form of distributed system, and that will be the change that we are talking about, that Michael is talking about, that we are advocating. And it's going to take time. It's not coming right now. So I would like to pause at this point before the last slide of my presentation. I want to welcome question about blockchain. That what is your, don't think about oh, I want to know about how does a particular algorithm work, or what is ERC20. You can ask them. I know, I'm a developer as well, but whatever you have question about blockchain, ask and probably I can answer them. It can be anything. What is blockchain is equally valid question. Any question? Yeah?
Question. Will you be able to use, say, blockchain or even more particularly Bitcoin, I believe, as you would purchase an item with a card?
You can.
That's the technology that will adapt.
Okay, yes. Yes, you can. But as Michael pointed out, look, some form of blockchain will be there to use as a currency, as your card. He has a blockchain debit card, I have one, and we use them everywhere, but it doesn't go on-chain directly. So think about traditional banking, what happens. When you purchase a transaction using your Visa card, NZ doesn't actually know about it until Visa actually processes it, then passes it on to NZ, then passes it on to like other banks or the vendor, and then the books are like, synchronized in a way. Now, the other significant part is that your digital screen shows that the money is transferred. The physical money is not actually transferred. It gets settled overnight, because if there was a fraudulent transaction, they want to grab it before it leaves the bank, and so on. Now, blockchain is going to be similar. It's an underlying fundamental. It's a core banking that's going to change. So when you spend with blockchain, yes, you will be able to see with Bitcoin or any other coin that might be that you purchase with that, you see the transaction, it is there. But instead of taking like, the whole day or a longer period to settle it, it will settle within like 5 to 15 minutes, and it is verified transaction that no further administration has to be done on that. And that's the power of blockchain. When people say, oh, it's a costly technology, why would you use it? But if you look at all the current financial systems and how long they take to settle one transaction, it's so much manual power, human resource, and the time that gets into it. Compared to that, blockchain is probably like, Bitcoin is just probably 1/1000th of that. So that's how it's going to change. You're still going to be able to buy with everything, but what changes it at the macro level? So what we see in the world today is that USD is largely the base currency that most companies use to transfer money or to keep their reserve. It's a reserve currency. And what people are saying is that Bitcoin has a real chance of becoming that reserve currency that not one country owns, and it can dictate what prices and inflation goes with it. And that's the power we are talking about.
Yeah, so for clients to purchase something from.
Yep. Yep.
But how does it interact with real estate?
So this is very important because we just started. I had like meetings with 4 lawyers this week, and tomorrow I'm meeting investors. So in real estate, there are a number of aspects. One is the registry. As a legal person, the land registry, title, and managing the trust is a headache. Now, if you put that on blockchain, let's just forget about land registry because government has to do it or whatever. But if you think about trust, that is like all the trust constitution and the rules and the administration and all that, you put that on chain. You put that as a blockchain. So when a new trustee comes, it can be onboarded on the system automatically, and then all the onboarding will happen automatically. So you literally take out the trust manager role. It becomes the system that is the trust manager. Whenever something, the trust earns or anything, it gets distributed to all those trustees. They can transfer units between them. So it can become a marketplace for those units. So that's one application of how real estate might do. The other thing, a good analogy is what stock market did to businesses. So what real estate tokenization fundamentally people see as a business opportunity is that rather than like if I want to buy something in Norwest because I know the prices are going skyrocket until this year, I can't go and buy that because it's too expensive, right? But imagine that house of investment property of 1 million was broken down into 1,000 coins. Now I can go and buy 1,000 coins that I can afford, and I can still gain value on that. Now, obviously, there's a lot that comes into stamp duty. How does the transfer? Who owns the property? All that. That's a legal aspect that are not unresolved, but it's a procedural thing. That currently your bank holds the title. In this case, the marketplace will hold the title. The person who is staying there might be one of the trust manager who is actually managing the property and has rules and everything. So it needs to digitize. But once that is there, that whole land title and everything, your management of everything goes away. It also helps people invest in real estate more actively and more importantly, more transparently with the system base. And it will allow like a lot of owning this asset, gateway to that. What stock market allowed people to own a business, part of business, that's what is happening in real estate. Yep. Any other question? Go wild. I don't mind. Okay. So when we talk about that it is slow, it's going to take time, what is happening, this is what is happening and what Michael said as well. So this is the adoption curve that we all know because we are all gurus in change management, in adoption, in everything, Bell's curve. Innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority. So where internet is, it is 3.75 billion users, probably more than that by the time I complete my speech, but it's at the peak of it, out of like 7.5 billion roughly population of the earth. Blockchain has 85 million users currently, so it's still hasn't reached the chasm. And what that means is all the failures that you see, FTX, Celsius, all the crypto Ponzi schemes, everything is before the chasm. So a lot of these businesses that you see, 90% of them wouldn't be when we reach like 2 billion users. They wouldn't be around. And that's okay, is what I'm saying. It is innovation. It is the nature of innovation. Be part of it, try to understand it, and try to learn about it so that you can be sensible and adopt them with a knowledgeable view rather than, oh, now it happened and I can't control it, all right? It will be too late for that. So as a business owner, technology is very important when you are innovating in current scenario because it helps you get to those results faster. It helps you connect to, like COVID hit. I have currently 75 employees who have no physical office. They're all remote in India, in here, everywhere, and 1,100 pool of developers who are on contract basis. And not a single office for any of them. And we are talking about BYOD policies, a lot of legal structures and all that. Now, yes, we need to consider all those aspects, but if we get resisted by that, we can never innovate. So innovate is about risk-taking, it's about changing, it's about adopting, it's about finding new ways that until we wait for COVID to come, something like COVID to come and they were like, oh, now we need to go remote. We were like this in 2018. We were like, so when COVID hit, it was like, yeah, it happened, business as usual, because we didn't have to change. So innovation is all about making that change before you actually hit by external forces and forced into the change, because then it is hard. Okay, thank you. That's pretty much my speech. Anything else? Any questions? Thank you.